you need to be there. And I think one of the biggest takeaway is that a relationship is not 50-50. A relationship is 100%, 100%.
They're like, Jim, start the group. So, I started a Mindset for Men group.
How's that going?
2 years ago. So it took a while because I didn't know really what to do. Okay, let's have me run a group and
how do I start? What do I talk about?
So we had one investor who was really loved talking about the topic, and he has a history in the mental health medical field. Really great resume, and we were trying to coordinate so he could make the main part of the show and discuss this, but his schedule was so tight, so it was tough to get that on the go. And then Otto joined the group, and Otto's been talking to me about mindset and Bob Proctor and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, whatever. And then we said, you know what, let's do this on the Mindset for Men group. So every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. for almost a year, probably about 9 months, we went through the Bob Proctor You Were Born Rich program, giving the guys, so we did an hour every Saturday morning, give the guys some homework, and the homework would be like listening to 20 to 40 minutes worth of a certain section of the You Were Born Rich program, and then we'd discuss it the next week. So kind of like a book club, but with homework, write this down, do this, put it in the universe kind of thing. So the guys loved it, and then during that time, Irismar started studying to be Deepak Chopra certified wellness coach. Yeah. So now I've got Otto and Bob Proctor and Irismar and Deepak Chopra. And I'm listening to this stuff, and I'm like, well, you know what? You guys are so different, but very similar as well. So let's create a program where we can put these together and then share that with the community. So that's what we've done, and
that's what we've done.
We're in our second week of a course launch that we've done that on every Thursday night in February.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It is.
Tell me more. What do you guys talk about?
Well, for the course itself, we have the fundamentals, right? So it's sort of focusing on the power of thoughts at the beginning and the self-awareness. So that's the combination of the two. Then we're moving into embracing that visualization, but also embracing who you want to become. Because if you don't embrace who you want to become, it's still so far-fetched. It's a dream. So it's sort of going into the stages, but also providing tips and tools on how to manage stress properly as well, how physical activity connects, so that's the wellness aspect of it. And the continuation, which is consistent with both of them, is the action taking, but the action taking with a proper plan. It sounds very kind of robust, but those are the key fundamentals. We can actually have, give or take, more than 3 or 4 sessions for one course or one segment, but we're providing, I think, enough knowledge and action taking that it will be rewarding for each person.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Just last night, there was, maybe we didn't do it in the right order, but, we thought, the group, this is our initial group, they should introduce themselves to each other and share a takeaway. And the takeaways were kind of overwhelming. I wasn't really expecting that. And okay, we're making a difference in people's lives here. In one night.
Yeah, it was, that was the, I would say, for me from last night, that was the biggest takeaway. Because we can all sit down and strategize. Let's put a course together. Yes. What is the message? And we feel that this is what's going to be relevant. And I mean, yes, I have become a certified life coach. That is more of a one-on-one interaction. But there are so many skills and tools that can be applied to a group setting. So it's almost like, okay, let's combine it. Let's put it together. And then in the deliver, is there going to be that reward? I know from my end, I'm being of service, and the same of Otto and the team, right? Like we all know there is service, but to have that confirmation of them is like, yes, no, this was my takeaway. I took action and I love this and I love that. That to me was the biggest reward and satisfaction.
I love that. That's I find that to be my purpose as well. Whenever like somebody says, "Hey, you said we had a conversation a year ago, and you said this thing, and it literally shifted my life." Like, is there anything more powerful than that to be able to have that kind of impact?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's so it's good. It comes with great. It's rewarding, but and now I'm starting to realize it comes with responsibilities as well.
Yes.
And
what kind of responsibilities? Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, here we are launching a wellness and mindset program, and it's like, okay, well, how's alcohol?
How well are you?
Yeah, well, how well am I? Or how are things like, alcohol I enjoyed having at a lot of the events, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I think I better practice what I preach now. If we're going to be talking about mental wellness and mental strength and empowering ourselves, maybe I need to take a step and look at my own self internally and see what changes I need to make. So that was a hard decision.
Yes.
But no, it's good. There's responsibilities in terms of how we're people are going to be unloading on us and sharing some deep thoughts. So there's privacy. You can't be sharing these types of stories with other people, and there's just the courtesy of giving people the time, which I'm not typically a patient person. So, recognizing that I need to slow down, somebody's unleashing something that's been bothering them, and they should take the time and pay attention and listen and absorb it.
Yeah. So that responsibility, I can attach it to the fact of we've been of service, and in being of service is respecting what that means. Because we have done our own growth and our own journey. And for me, it's like, I need to walk the talk. Right?
Yes.
So it's like, yes, I have to practice my meditation. I have to get better with my health, but also being transparent is a journey. I cannot change a bad habit of being up and down overnight. Some people say, yes, you can, but it takes practice and it takes consistency. But I think the essence of it all in the responsibility is the responsibility of the trust. Because they're embarking the journey with us, but they're putting their trust in us. And that's what brings the openness and the vulnerability. And I think for me that is something that I respect and treasure, because you don't earn trust just because you have a title or you provide something. That is something that you earn. But when it comes to freely giving because of the exchange of service, then that is a responsibility to nurture it or even to honor it. And how do we honor it? And we honor it by acknowledging, we need to step to the game, let's keep this up. And I personally was not necessarily a heavy drinker by any means, but I enjoyed my social gatherings and drinks, and I can say I did not expect the level of clarity that I got from like that brain fog. And I'm like, and it's only been 2 years and I wasn't that heavy consumption, right? So to being able to share that and even connect to that level, those are the responsibilities that I see that people will connect.
What were some of the things that you felt like you had to change to be able to, change the habits?
Change the habits. It was internal discussion with myself, right? So it's like, we listen to all these, the Bob Proctors and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, you keep hearing, what you have to do. You know what you have to do. And for me, I knew it was alcohol. I knew it's not that, I was just that I was so foggy every day, after an event or after a night of having some beverages. It's like 3 days of cloudiness. And maybe it's because I'm getting older, or maybe because I have more ambitions right now. So there was like frustration, self-frustration. There was, anger with myself, and the frustration. It was just huge. And so it's like, okay, this isn't working. And so for me, it was, I think I said, we had one last event to go to, and I said, okay, Tuesday night, leave it up to me for.
This is the day I'm gonna, my last day of drinking.
Well, Tuesday night, but I knew Tuesday night we were looking forward to it. We're going out for a bunch, and I said, "This is it. This is my last night." And usually I don't put a date on something. Usually I just do it instantly.
Yes.
I thought I might have been setting myself up for failure by just putting a date out there, but no, cold turkey the next day, and 3 months later, and it's not. Alcohol is definitely not in our picture. My picture for 2024. Mm-hmm. That's what you're reading.
Yeah.
2024. And I now the more that I'm understanding our brain and how it functions, I feel like I could. I know I have the power to switch and be a better alcohol consumer, but that's going to need work, and it's not in the game plan for 2024. There's too many other things on our plate right now. So if and when that time comes that I want to think about having a glass of wine with my dinner, I will address that and work on that when I have the time to focus on it. But right now, it's out of mind.
No, that's good. But you know, the reason you see me looking at you is because not everyone can have that willpower of yes, done.
100%.
Right? And I can relate to that. Like for me, yes, I jump on board and I'm on it and I feel amazing. But my personal growth journey will go back to probably a decade ago. And it started slowly. And you know, the weight gain and loss and etc. That's the one I can relate the most, but some of them were stress related, then bad habits, eating. And it comes to a position where you embark in that personal growth. Things will eventually happen over time, but the more self-aware you become and you get to acknowledge, who am I doing this for? Why exactly am I doing it? And you have those tough conversations with yourself, then you realize, oh, I'm only doing it for myself first. Any benefit that we do, personal growth, may they be weight, may more flexible, have a better health, is for ourselves to last longer. No one else, everyone else could benefit because you're an amazing person or you're happy and you spread that joy, but it's for yourself. And the bottom line is if we have no health, we have nothing, right? Because we need our health to be able to complete any dream and any ambition we have. But it takes time. And if someone is struggling to get there, is to really sit down, look at what they're doing, and what is it that they want to go. What is their goal, what they want to achieve, and then break it down. Because I never want to set you up for failure, right? I want to set you up for success. So if I put my coach hat right now, I'll be, what exactly are you willing to commit? Because this is not for anyone else. And then that's how you start realizing, okay, this is what I'm willing to commit. If I can only do 2 days because everything else is overwhelming, well, let's start with 2 days. But then you start challenging yourself to increase them and make those changes.
Let's talk about relationship a little bit, can we?
Sure.
Like, how do you go through moments like that of toughness or this potential disagreement, and remain close and remain on each other's
Your partner has a lot of patience.
Yes, I do have a lot of patience, but I think one key component in relationships is that sometimes, one, we cannot forget the reason we came together in the first place, right? We found our soulmate, that's who we want to spend the rest of our life with. But we are not gonna remain that same person because I was 18.
Yeah.
No, 23. Sorry, I'm just no. We were in our 20s. We were in early 20s. But it's just to making that comparison that we have yet to get into our adulthood, and that's why we have decades. We become hopefully the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
So we need to adapt that they will be changing. And we don't change for each other. We change to who we become the best version, and we need to accept but never forget why we came together. Mm-hmm. And it's understanding that we're going through changes too. But communication is the biggest key, because sometimes we can be overstressed and maybe, could be not necessarily a heated argument, but you just not necessarily were agreeing in a topic, and you're just like, okay, go different ways, is having the time later to come back and have those conversations, because that is the key to any successful relationship, is clear communication. And you could even say, I know you didn't mean to, but when you said that, this is what I heard, or this is how I felt. And he can control what I hear or what I feel.
Yes.
But if I don't share with him how I felt and what I hear, how would he know? And that's just, I think at the end of the day, yes, I can have a lot of patience. Thank you. But it is.
Thank you.
But it's having that open communication and being always honest and giving ourselves the space, and then come back and have a conversation if you need to, right? But don't disregard communication. That is the biggest key in any relationship.
I love that. Has there been anything in your marriage that you've been through that was, a huge learning lesson that you could, like give tips of advice to other couples out there?
One thing I was dreading, we were telling you earlier that, we got married in I don't know if your leg was moving over to me to kind of nudge me. That's what you said.
No, I'm just moving. I'm just moving. You share away.
Like, don't say this and this and this.
We didn't know what we were coming here for. So to get married in the church that Irismar wanted to get married in, I had to be approved, I guess, kind of. So, and we had to go through this thing. Was it called marriage counseling, or it's like pre-marriage counseling, I guess. And I was like, I was put on by the church, and I was dreading it for weeks. I was dreading it, and so we went, and it was not churchy at all. It was very good. It was similar to some of the things that Irismar just mentioned, which was, remember how you guys met, and try to revisit that every so often. And the people that we met in there, unfortunately, we weren't more intention about networking and becoming friends with people, but the people who were in there were great as well. But I remember sitting there. Remember, I hated the idea of doing this. I remember sitting there, and this was a couple of weeks. We had to go back and back and back. And I thought, every couple should have to do this once a year. Like, this
100%.
is just something that's going to keep that spark alive. So,
and you gotta remember too, when the difficult times come, and sometimes they're unexpected life changes. Someone could be impacted by health and they need to take time off, which is something we experience. You need to be there. And I think one of the biggest takeaway is that a relationship is not 50-50. A relationship is 100%, 100%. And I think it was Brené Brown who put it recently that she and her husband have a check-in every day, and it's almost like, how are you doing? And it's in that scale of 100, and it's like, I'm at a 20. Don't worry, I got you the other 80. And it's because when we went through that impactful time in our life and his health, and Jim had talked about that before, yes, there were times that there were no communications because it's what was needed. It was sort of like a dark time, and we were kind of in survival. But you do what you have to do because it's the commitment we made. And at some of those points, you could say, well, Irismar, you were 80 and Jim was 20. I'm not counting. But that's what you need to understand in a relationship. It is 100%, and when your partner is not there, you pull on the way. And vice versa, when you're not able to be there, your partner pull on the way. This is a compromise between the two. So I think that's the biggest one, because I heard before people say, 50-50, like, where's the other 50? No, you're 100, you're 100. And then combined, you gotta make 100. And that changes.
I love that. You guys do a lot of things together, right? You guys, like, when you think of one, like, you automatically think of the other, because you guys spend so much time together, and you like show up together to everything that I've known so far, right? Like, you're even the course, you're doing it together. Like, you come to events together, you do podcasts together. You're really a team. How do you is there any challenges with spending so much time together is one question. And then how do you see that as, you know, or how do you see that as a benefit in your relationship?
I mean, you know, so we're trying to be more intentional with the things that we've been able to achieve, and we're turning a point where we're becoming more business partners than a husband and wife on a journey together that enjoy spending time together. So when the business comes into things, you know, we all have different business styles. And business communication skills or lack of.
Yes.
Lack of. No, I'm joking. So it's a challenge. No, it's not. Well, it's not a challenge. It's a good challenge because I think when you're aware of it, you are able to put yourself into perspective as well. Say, okay, well, that wasn't the best way to communicate that, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's learning, but you know, we've been together 20 years almost. Yeah. We've had one car throughout the entire 20 years.
Wow.
I mean, if she wants...
Why is that? Just out of curiosity.
Because we always go everywhere together.
and you know,
that says a lot.
But from my side, I guess it was not... I wasn't, and it could be part of, you know, kind of growing up in Venezuela, and I do come from, you know, countryside, humble beginnings. I didn't have like that, oh my God, I'm going to have 16 and I'm going to have my car or I'm going to move out. That was not ever in my vision. And anything, we commuted by transport. Yes, some of my uncles would have had their own cars and so forth, but a lot of the time it was just being the commuter person. So for me, there was never, call it like an attachment or an ambition to even own one. So it wasn't a need. And then it's just gravitated that we made it work too. And we didn't see a need for a second car either.
Yeah, like, I mean, if she wants to go looking at pink fabric at the fabric store, we're probably going together, kind of thing like that. So it's just,
But going back to your question, it's always the communication. And, you know, I still have my 9 to 5. I am an executive assistant. I excel at what I do, and I say that. But on the personal side, at home, I'm not excelling yet, especially when it comes to those. Well, no, when it comes to the administrative task, and this is when you get to know, because, you know, kind of put myself the back and etc. Like, oh, you know, just put it to the side. I can do that later. But then that could be a transition in terms of like, oh, you're now coming. We're now going towards a vision together. Now this is our vision, not only independent dreams that he could support me if it was different. That's how I became a life coach, but it just, the synergy work that we're in it together. But now it's like, okay, how are we gonna get there? You gotta do this, we gotta do that. And at one point, it's communications. Like, I can't read your mind, and I think you expect me to do this. And he's like, no, I don't expect you to do that. And again, sometimes it's my own dialogue and personal growth. So it just goes in communications. But we are, I guess, when you see it in terms of what are the challenges, we don't have a challenge because we are aligning where we're heading together. Maybe how we're gonna get there, we might have different views at times, and we just might need, no, this is what we need to do right now. But in the ultimate goal is that, but not so much call it that, it will be more of the lifestyle freedom, time freedom, because I value my time a lot more than I would value wealth. Wealth is amazing because it will help us achieve and make a big difference and even make more collaborative. But it's that time together, because we only have one time and we got to make the most of it. Yesterday's already gone, and we can wish for tomorrow because we don't know when it's coming, right? Like, we got to be in the now and the present and make the most of it.
And I've been saying to other people, I just told her that I've been saying this behind her back. But her growth in the past few months especially has been astonishing, and she's turning into my secret weapon.
I love that.
Cool. She's
where have you seen she has grown the most?
Clarity and focus. Yeah, she's and creativity.
Yeah, I see that, and I acknowledge that. I was not, you know, like even from the program, putting putting book together, we all have collaborator, but I just felt like inspired, and I went and start putting thoughts, and it was amazing to have the team say, yes, that works, that's perfect.
What she's talking about, so for this program that we put together, it's like we call it a foundation journey workshop. So we're setting the foundation for people to understand their inner potential and how to get through the daily challenges that we all have. And we wanted to put together a workbook for this 4-week course. Now, this is about an hour a week, so it's really a 4-hour program. And the workbook that was put together, that she put mostly together, so I'd say it's probably more than 90% you that put that together, I think. Yeah. It's 32 pages long, but it flows and it guides people on a daily basis on how to do things to achieve their goals and realize them. So it was like, okay, this is incredible.
Yeah. And thank you. It has given the recent changes just have given me a better clarity, and I'm more in purpose, and because I'm finding myself being in purpose and that service, then it also comes easier. But the clarity that I have is combination of all of the changes I've made. Now, if I were to kind of tip it back to the personal growth, I have always had in the relationship, I had a great supporter. He's always like, yes, you can do it, go apply for it, I support you 100%. The Irismar 10 years ago, and it still sometimes it creeps in, the Irismar had a lot of self-doubt. And I didn't think I was capable, or I wasn't good enough.
And I didn't know she had self-doubt. Within 15 years, I thought, she's grown into this comfortable person who's doing a great job at her career, and she's got great respect, and I just thought, within 15 years of a relationship, you'd think you'd know that your spouse is still self-doubting themselves, and I thought, that's incredible. I had no clue.
He had no clue, and it's not something that you sort of bring up, but when you sort of look back, or you put it in hindsight, then you're like, yeah, that's true. And I cannot, I'm sharing that because it takes time to come from that, and if you don't core believe it, or at least start, well, no, but he told me that, so I must be doing something good, right? Like, even you just start making connections, and you help yourself start believing it even more. And it's been years, as I say now, right? But back then, it's like, no, I would even be questioning a position maybe a little bit too much. Maybe I should not, and there would be not too many negatives and etc. But it's not to dwell in the past, it's just to show the growth. Because at the end of the day, the journey that I had been on is the journey that brought me here. So even if you were to have the opportunity to go and change it, I couldn't change it because I don't know if I'm gonna end up here.
That's right.
And I'm in a better position right now, and fulfillment and purpose. That why would I change that?
I love it. That's amazing. I can see from how excited you are about this, that you tipped into something or found something within you, tapped into that purpose, and I feel like that's where you can bring the most value to everybody around you, because you're just coming from your true identity.
And to be honest, I didn't even think I would. I never thought I would enjoy. In fact, I was quite positive I would not enjoy being in the type of position we are now. I didn't think I was going to. I don't want to hear about other people's issues, or I don't. I don't want to. I can't sit through this and all that sort of stuff. And then now, with a different sense of clarity and purpose, I'm enjoying it, which is a real change for me.
That's amazing. Anton and I have been business partners for a long time, but it's been always very difficult to find a groove. I find specifically back in 2020, I actually decided to not work with him anymore. I said, I can't do this anymore. You continue on with the business, I'm gonna go focus my time somewhere else. And I experienced massive growth at that time.
Interesting, yeah.
That's when I started getting into multifamily, and just within a couple of years, it was like a rocket. And it's been interesting. We still, to this day, talk about business quite a bit because we're both in business, but we keep our businesses very separate.
Oh, okay.
Like you don't see him with me at events, right?
Yeah.
As an example of that, right?
True,
Like,
yeah.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, he was allowed to come out to
I'm actually like, he doesn't enjoy it.
Right.
Which is like, he just doesn't enjoy the socializing. He has it. Recently, he's got into pickleball
Oh, very cool.
at like the gym.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he knows all these people, and like they have their club, and they have a WhatsApp group, and he's meeting them, and they're playing together, and it's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know who this person is, because
So he's becoming a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's just
in his own way, right? Like around the things that he enjoys.
Yeah, cool.
Because he's always told me this. He's like, I'm an active person. Like, don't ask me to sit down and talk for hours because I just can't.
Right.
But if we're gonna go meet and we're gonna play something, we're gonna be active. We're gonna go like anything active, like activity related. Then like that works for me.
Right.
So while I go to all these events and I just talk for, first of all, you're sitting and listening for hours, and then you're out there talking for hours, and that's my jam. Like I love this. So I podcast because I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. I love like communicating conversations and deep conversations and learnings and all of it. And to him, like he's like the best conversations that we have is when we're walking, because he's like, I need to be like moving and doing things, you know.
You need to get a dog to keep you walking.
So we actually dog sat for my brother-in-law over Christmas.
Oh, okay.
It was our first experience. My kids have been begging for a dog, as you can imagine, forever. And we're always like, no, you know, like we're really busy people. And it's a lot. So she came and stayed with us for 2 weeks. Ooh. And it was such like a crazy experience. It did definitely get us out constantly because she just always wants to go for a walk. But interesting enough, at the end of the experience, my daughter came because she was the one that was like, I really want a dog. I'm like, this will be your chance.
Okay.
You do the things. You know when you're supposed to feed her. You know you're supposed to take her in the morning. Like she's sleeping in your room. Like you're like, be the responsible dog owner that you say to us that you can be.
Right.
At the end of the 2 weeks, she came to Mommy, I have something to say. I'm like, okay. She's like, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready to have a dog. She needed a lot of attention. I had to get up so early and pick up the poop. And like, she's like, I'm not ready. I'm like, okay, no.
But that's beautiful.
And you're like, save me $1,000 a month.
No, but that's beautiful, and that shows her own growth and her own awareness. That's beautiful.
Right?
That's something to nurture.
I was so
that is
impressed.
100%.
Like, awesome. Thanks for like telling me, and the fact that she was able to process that and with such clarity share that with me. Like that was fun.
Oh, that's beautiful. She's gonna be a beautiful independent woman. That's for sure.
Okay, this is where I was going. We kind of got sidetracked with the dog. I'm really independent. I was talking about like Anton and I and how we like operate. I'm the opposite. I'm like, get me out of here. I was out of the house very early. Want my own car. Need my freedom. Like I don't want to have to ask anybody for anything. Like I'm so like, and I think probably a number of reasons, but I come from a single mom. It was my mom and the two of us, and my mom is still like a firecracker, very independent, takes no prisoner. Like she's just like, and that's who I grew up with. That's what I grew up around, and I think that just really shaped who I am in being so independent. I'm like, when I had a chance to go do my thing on my own, I felt like I could take off. As long as like I was working with him so closely, and I feel like I had to constantly adapt and shape who I was to fit into that business. I'm like, I just somewhat felt limited, and it wasn't until I'm like, hey, I can do my own thing. Like sky's the limit now. Let me just like focus on bringing what I bring the best to the table. I felt like that worked really well for me. So with him not wanting to come, it's too bad because I do wish for dates, to have a date with me when we go out, especially a nice event, social events. But also it gives me a chance to be like me, outside of us.
Yeah.
And it gives me a chance to like get to know people and talk and like just a different version of me, which I also appreciate, like the time and the freedom to do that as well.
And you were always like that. You never changed. I
Yes.
bet you were that independent from
Yes.
when he met you.
Yes.
And you were doing your own thing.
Yes.
And again, that's never forgetting who we found.
Yeah.
And we will compromise, we'll come together, but we're not necessarily changing aspect to ourselves.
Yes.
We still have to fulfill our own true self and nature in order to be the best person for our partners. We can't change that. So that's your compromise. But it's your compromise in the sense he's doing his activities because that provides fulfillment.
Yes.
And you having your independence. It didn't necessarily work in that business with him, but he could see it. And what is the biggest compliment that we can have in a relationship is that you have your partner at 100% support.
Yes.
And if he's struggling, I bet you just step in
100%.
and it will be vice versa.
Yeah.
It's that ongoing support, and we never forget. We sometimes forget to nurture the person. And I know I don't have children, but whenever I have the opportunity and someone has children, oh my God, my child, and all they talk is like, and how's your husband? Or when was the last time you had a date? Or, yes, that is your focus, but we left the nest. They're gonna leave the nest one day too, and you cannot become strangers. And they would always tell you, part of the marriage course that we went to is, you never forget what you did when you came together. You gotta nurture that throughout the relationship. Make kids come and flourish and make them better. It's gonna still be you at the end of the journey.
It's so good. I love that. We were having a conversation last night because we're so busy. It's so easy to prioritize everything else.
Yeah.
Kids and house and jobs and everything else, and not each other. It's very easy to take that for granted and not put that effort or focus or attention into it.
And you have to be intentional. And if you're looking, and because probably you do a lot of the planning as well, and if you're looking at your schedule and looking ahead, really, can you carve out 1 hour, one evening every month, not even every week, every month to start? Yes, you can do that. Can you be intentional about it and respect it, no matter what? You can delegate a lot of people. If a pipe bursts, you know what is your number, you can get it taken care of. It doesn't have to be you, but you have to respect that time that you selected and honor it. And eventually that becomes, I need it. Then it becomes now twice a month. Or it becomes weekly as the children get older, because the needs will change, right? But it's about making that commitment and not push it aside. Because the moment you push aside intentionality of having that husband and wife time, then you're saying, it's the kids first, sorry, we can't, right? You have to be intentional. And to even challenge it a little bit farther, do not talk about children on your date night. They're your love life. They're there. You brought them into this world, but they're already your 24/7. So that's how you're going to be intentional at remaining connected and remain present to, we're here for each other, this is our time. And if something might be lingering that, you know what, this has been in my mind, and nothing to do with business, nothing to do with kids, now it's just the two of you, the essence, then nurture that. And then you'll get to even be in a different awareness of, I didn't know I needed that. Or, we need more of this, because this is us.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I told him last time. I'm like, we need to put it on the schedule here. Otherwise everything else will take priority just naturally, and then we just don't make time for it.
Yeah.
But honor it. That's the thing. Put it in the schedule, but also honor it. Because it's just the two of us. Well, we can push it. I gotta work on this, and I gotta finish that review or that due diligence, right? Yes, that's the first step. Amazing. But because I want to make sure you're set up for success, honor it and commit it. Because it's just 1 hour. Don't have to make it like the whole evening that you gotta get a babysitter or whatever, right? Just 1 hour.
And who knows, maybe you'll end up loving pickleball.
He took me yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
We played for an hour because he's like, I booked a court, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's go.
How was your experience?
I love it. I played before, but my hands happened, so I didn't play for a long time. And he took off. The first time we played together was so much fun. And almost immediately he was so much better at it than me, which he is much better at me in any activity.
Any sport, not
anything we do. He just takes, except basketball.
Oh.
I can show off at basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love basketball. So
do
let's,
you? We need to play.
Very cool.
Yeah, I love basketball. I played in school, so I'm okay.
Nice.
But he just obviously was so good at it. Went to like a pros league right away. And I'm like, hello, I played once. Like, how are you over there? And I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
And then my hand happened, and that held me back. So he's like, okay, let's just go you and I, and let's play. And
That's
that's
cool.
fine. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's beautiful. There you go.
Yeah.
It's on.